Hey, Doug Giles here, Warriors and Wild Men podcast. Richard.
Doug. Unless he's been killed by some crystal meth tweakers. Hey, Doug. Good to see you, man.
What's the next line?
I'm not singing the next line for the sake of our audience.
Yeah, we're getting in trouble. You're pushing me over the edge with my use of blue verbiage. So
I don't remember.
We'll try to extricate those adjectives.
I don't remember the next line. How about that? That's a lie.
There you go. You're getting old. You're losing your memory.
Yeah, my beard's getting gray. What's up?
Yeah, you're not losing your mind. You're not losing your mind, just your memory.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to talk about this. I know it's not a pleasant topic to talk about. I know it's not the stuff that a lot of evangelicals wish to discuss. But and here's a good reason why evangelicals should get into politics, because policies affect this thing called security. And as most of you guys know, yesterday, Tuesday, terrorist attack, a supposed lone wolf, which didn't seem like he's too alone, because they're finding out that via social media and these things called websites that Al Gore invented, that he's connected to a lot of people in this religion of peace that George Bush called it. I don't know if the audience is familiar with it. It's called Islam, and they want to do bad things to us. And he did it there in the west side of Manhattan. And Rich, this wasn't a big commercial place. It's a family place, schools, parents pushing their kids in strollers, everybody having a lovely time and just trying to eke out an existence on this planet before we all take a dirt nap. And here this moron takes a Home Depot truck, jumps up on a bike path that's a bike-only path, supposedly, and frickin' rams it through, kills 8 people, I think wounds nearly a dozen, stabs his truck into the side of a special needs bus, and those kids were hurt, and just completely disastrous. But here's the thing that's pissing me off, and here's what, aside from that atrocity, and here's why evangelicals need to get into politics and get concerned with policy, is that this jihadic death dealer came to the United States under a democratic policy, Rich, called a diversity visa. Yeah. So we need a Muslim guy, and we'd like him with a billy goat beard, and we'd like him highly radicalized, because we're not diverse enough here in the United States of pussification. We need those kind of death dealers, ramming trucks through our friends and family. Unbelievable. And you know what? Trump was right to pin it on Chucky Schumer and the Democrats, because they vie for that crap, and they oppose him and call him a xenophobe and a bigot when he wants to ratchet down the influx of people from these terror states, which Uzbekistan is predominantly filled with this. Yeah, filled with
Uzbekistan isn't putting out a lot of real good things right now. I don't remember the last time they had a Nobel Prize winner.
Diversity visa. We need more diversity. How about we need people in here that don't want to kill us? How about we have people in here who get here because of merit? They work their ass off. They prove that they're great citizens. They salute our flag in this grand experiment in self-governance, and they don't want to drive trucks down bike paths and scattering body parts left and right. To me, that kind of pussification, Rich, that kind of political correctness to where, we are the bad guy if we vet people from these places, these suckistans that you talked about that want to kill us. Folks, that kind of stuff is deadly. If you're a Christian, you should be tip of the spear in regards to securing families, securing our border, securing our nation. You should care that you cannot speak truth to this ugly power base called radical Islam. Because I guarantee, man, Jesus wouldn't give them a pass. Yeah, he might lead a couple of them, Rich, to the Lord, but he wouldn't give that whole cult that spawns death, and it's a legalistic construct on how a person is made righteous. There's no way in the world that he would give them a pass and say nary a word, not a peep, to old Islam, lest he offend them. Well, am I wrong, Rich? Am I crazy?
Well, you are crazy, but you're not wrong. Let me throw this out there. You know, one of the requirements of being a man is being a protector. And, you know, in the Old Testament, we read about gatekeepers at the temple. The gatekeepers, it doesn't sound like they had a very exciting job. It's like, what's your job? Open the gate. What else do you do? Close the gate. It's like, that's not a big deal. Oh, hell yeah, that's a big deal. You want to know why? Because you need to know when to open the gate, and you need to know when to close the gate. And it's like, oh, okay, that's a simple point. Apparently, the simplicity of it, the genius of it, has been lost in America in 2017. You have to recognize this is a friend. I open the gate. This is someone who poses no harm. I open the gate. Here comes the king. I open the gate. Here comes the people that work in the temple. I open the gate. See how good that is? Here comes my family members. I open the gate. Here comes some people from another village, from another town that's a different religion than us, that we've been doing business with, that we're friends. We've been working together for years. I open the gate. Hey, here comes a guy yelling Allah Akbar. I close the gate, and then if you look through the hole, I jab a spear through your eye.
Exactly.
I mean, are you kidding me, Doug? Hey, when I open my door at my house, here's one thing. It's America. It's a different time. You announce when you're going to somebody's house. You shoot them a text. Hey, I'm thinking about stopping by. I had just recently, a couple months ago, someone knocked on my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. So I open the door a little bit and I look out and there's 2 police officers standing there. And I said, how are you doing? They said, we'd like to come in and talk to you. I said, no problem. Just so you understand, I have a pistol in my hand and I'm going to go set it down on my desk, but you're welcome to come inside. And I invited him inside my house. Guess what? You don't come to my house unannounced. I don't know you. You come banging on my door. I'm going to have a pistol in my hand. But America says, you know what? We're Christians. And it's not Christians. I'm not even saying that. We're a bunch of socialist, humanist retards. So what we do is we just open it because it sucks over there. Hey, you know why it sucks over there? It's not the land. Some of those countries have the greatest natural resources of any area in the entire world. I mean, you're talking about oil. Come on. It's not that the country sucks. Here it goes, Doug. Here it comes. The people suck. They suck. Their religion sucks, and they suck. They're poor because they follow a stupid religion. They hate their country. And you know what they hate more than their country, Doug? They hate us. And they want to come here, and they hate us because we're Christians. They hate us because we follow Christ. They hate us because we're capitalists. They see this as a holy war, and we're the only ones so retarded that we don't see it as a holy war. We see it as, well, it's a few bad people. No, it's not. This is the holy war that's been going on for over 1,000 years. Now it's here, and we're trying to deny it. You know what happens when you go to war and you deny you're in war? You get ran over by a truck. You know what happens when that happens in Arizona? Everybody with a concealed carry pulls out their pistol and starts popping rounds through the windshield of that truck, and they only get half as many people. And the next guy that thinks about it thinks, man, I might not get a chance to blow myself up. I might get shot in the face 47 times. That's the language they understand.
You know, going to your analogy of who you let into your house and stuff, not only are we letting them into the United States of America, and again, you know, they're clear. They don't like us. There's no bargaining chip. They're implacable.
Yep.
They don't like Britney Spears' cleavage. They don't like Zeke's hair gel. They don't.
No, they like goats. A guy literally taught that. Did you know that, Doug? One of the imams in Middle East somewhere, I can't remember who it is. I'll have to look it up. He literally said it's better for a Muslim man to deposit his seed in an animal than into a dirty whore.
Well, that's a nice.
Hey,
I don't find that in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But,
you know what, Doug?
You know, who am I to judge, Rich?
That's uncomfortable. You know why it's uncomfortable? Because it's real and it's disturbing. You know what? Right. This garbage, who goes and runs down kids? It's real and it's disturbing. And unless we identify who it is and why they're doing it, we can't get to the issue. We'll never get there.
Let's, for the listener's sake, we can help them through this. It wasn't a bellicose Baptist.
Nope.
It wasn't a perturbed, blue-haired Presbyterian old lady.
It wasn't a Hindu.
It wasn't a self-loathing Lutheran. No, it wasn't. It was the followers of, like you said, this guy who married a 9-year-old girl, a pedophile, from the 7th century, who heard voices. That's who they follow. And not only, going back to your analogy, not only are we letting them in our house, we're also giving them government assistance, free dental. In the UK, if you're a jihadi, and we're talking, this is not BS, man. They're putting ISIS operatives who have been fighting in Syria and Iraq. They've got 20,000 of them, Rich, that they're putting ahead of British citizens in regards to housing and jobs.
Well, did you see the guy that was one of the investigators working with the police in London? And he was a Muslim, and he came from a radical area. And they put him in charge of one of the areas of the police. And then they said, look, we'll do this. And then he can really relate to the culture. Except for a woman came and said, hey, I was beaten by my husband. I need protection. He took her in another room. He said, you do something for me and I'll do something for you. He raped her.
Yeah.
And then when she came out, dozens of women came out. You know what, Doug? They do not have the same worldview. Let's get right down to it. They do not have the same worldview. They do not respect human life like we do. You cannot relate to them. Giving them a hug does not help them. Short of a miracle of a revelation of Christ and them getting saved and them throwing off their entire worldview, those people are not just people with a different viewpoint. They're people who want to kill you. And history and news has proven that.
And they also have in their arsenal is this little mantra, this moniker that they fly under called Takea, where they'll lie their ass off to your face just to get you to acquiesce to their presence and their craziness. And this is, it's a liberal problem. Yeah, the Democrats are the ones who are, for whatever weird reason, are trying to push this specious religion down our throat. But man, I'm telling you, Rich, a lot of Christians are buying into this. We don't need to judge them. We need to love them. They're God's children.
That's because they're not Christians,
God
Doug.
loves all people,
Doug, they're not Christians.
Biblical.
No, they're not Christians.
Now, some of them could be Christians, Rich. I might disagree with you on that one. But they're just stupid. And you hear this stupid crap. And it's like, don't you read the scripture at all? I mean, this religion, this people, like you said, they are implacable. There is no bargaining chip. They don't like women. Christ is a friend of sinners. If these guys run into a homosexual and they catch him, they'll hang him off a bridge. They'll throw him off a damn building, and they'll do it with glee. A Christian, on the other hand, will try to show them the scripture, pray for them, give them a Hillsong CD, invite them to a Mike Huckabee concert, possibly a Warrior and Wildmen engagement that we're going to have in the future. But Islam, au contraire. And like you said, in regards to women, ladies, you're not
that don't make any sense.
You're not better than a dog. But here's the thing that just drives me nuts, man. We're not supposed to say anything about it. We're supposed to give them diversity visas. You watch what they're going to do to Trump. They're going to turn him into the Antichrist. They're going to make him Anton LaVey. He's the devil. You and I, this podcast will probably get flagged and banned.
Who cares?
Because we're pointing out the obvious 800-pound Islamic gorilla in the room that's wanting to crap on Western civilization. And back in our day, man, your dad, my dad, both of them fought in the war and stuff. The news cycles that would churn out during those time periods, they didn't play games with Nazis. They didn't try to excuse Stalin's thugs. Well, they don't all, want to be fascist and communist. Oh, it's just a few of them.
Yep.
They didn't tolerate Imperial Japan's crap. But God forbid that we should say that it's Islam that spawns terrorism more than eggs and refried beans makes Gwyneth Paltrow a little gassy.
Well, here's my thing, Doug. Like Christians say we're called to love. We are called to love. And you know what our primary task is? It's the Great Commission. Win souls, make disciples. Okay, then we should let them in. Oh, it never said that. It never. That's not how we get them. You know how we get them? We go to where they are. We win them where they are, and then they win each other. I'll give my life for you, then you give your life for somebody else. That's how it works. Not you come in and destroy our country, and then we think that's love. That's not love. Hey, I had a guy ask me one time, he's like, hey, you need to come down to this thing. And I said, hey, I'm not coming. I don't want to talk about what it was, but I said, hey, I'm not coming. He said, I thought you were supposed to come hang out with sinners. I said, hey, man, if it means me losing my salvation for you to gain yours, it ain't going to happen. You're going to hell, dude. And he was like all upset, So why do I say that? Hey, man, let us in. If it means we lose our country, we lose our nation, we lose our families, we lose our freedom, We're losing our freedoms now. We don't have the right to freedom of speech. We can't even say what we want to say on this podcast, Doug, because it's going to get flagged. It's going to get shut down because people are psycho. And they talk about freedom of speech. I'm not afraid to say anything to anybody to their face. If I believe it, I'll say it, and I'll say it to your face. I have no issue. I have told Muslims this, but you know what? On the flip side, Christians say we're supposed to love. Yes, we are. You know what? I spend a significant portion of my ministry, my time, our finances in reaching Indonesia, the largest Muslim country in the world. We go there because we love them. We don't go there and make them. We don't go there and force them. We just go and make it available, because that's what Christianity does. It doesn't make anybody believe it, but we make it available. And if they choose it, we disciple them. But we don't go there and blow people up, Doug. We're not blowing them up. We're not forcing anybody. We're not nothing, but you can't come to our country and blow us up and expect us to go, well, you're a good one. Be a good one in Suckistan.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
Hey, assimilate.
I don't care what you do.
Assimilate.
Hang
America, America's the melting pot. It's a melting pot. We all come together. It is not you come and then you have Suckistan here in America. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to have Muslim neighborhoods that I'm afraid to walk in. I'm not doing it. I'm not having that. That's wrong. And then what's up with this November 4th? Antifa says they're going to go and attack everybody on blah, blah, blah. We have church on November 4th. Church would definitely be a target for Antifa. I promise you, any Antifa snowflakes try to show up at my church on November 4th, you know what they're going to find out? We're 500 yards from a Marine base, and we might have several Marines in there, and we're ready for you. We're going to light you up. You want to be famous? Come to our church. You want to be a Muslim terrorist? Come to my church. I'll make you famous. We'll make your name known. We'll make video. We'll make sure we have video of everything. We will load it up high definition on every site. We'll let every Muslim know that wants to come and attack us. Everybody in Antifa, you come bring it on. We'll light you up and make you famous if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, speaking of Antifa and ISIS, and we have this over on clashdaily.com, my other website, they've been collaborating, and they did it recently in Oakland, California, where they have Muslim extremists with these quote-unquote liberal protesters, which to me, they're nothing but anarchist terrorists.
They're people with no freaking jobs is what they are. And
they're collaborating together to bring down, again, this grand experiment in self-governance that was cobbled together by thoughtful Christian men that has become the greatest benevolent blessing on this planet. Sure, we're not fault-free, but we blow the hell out of any other country and have been doing it for a long time. And it's based upon, again, the Judeo-Christian foundation of the Constitution, the bylaws, and the Declaration of Independence. And still we have little Christians that don't take serious that foundation, who don't take serious that worldview, and somehow they've had their minds so screwed up that they'll embrace veritable enemies who want to drag down our nation. Yep. And we're told that, again, we're the bad guys if we point it out. They'll take away your freedom. They'll take away your family. They'll take away your flag. I mean, you look who's stacking up on the left in the same kind of mentality that Islam has in regards to the United States. Yep. No respect for cops, no respect for culture, no respect for history, no respect for freedom, no respect for the flag and the anthem. Guys, liberalism and Islam are merging together in their despisal of the United States.
Yep.
And Christian, you should speak up about it. You shouldn't tolerate it, because just like Rich said, they're coming for your freedom. And whom the Son sets free is supposed to be free indeed and not enslaved to these disastrous and demonic worldviews.
Well, and that's the only way that any of this makes sense, Doug, because even these different groups that are joining together, they're also different, and they should hate each other. You would think, if it made sense. But the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and everything that sets itself up in high places against the knowledge of Christ. And so what it is you have the Christian worldview, you have a spirit of Christ, and then you have the world's worldview, which is antichrist. It doesn't have to be Satanism, but it is ruled by Satan, the ruler of the air, the Bible says. And so you have this war that's going on. The only way that this stuff makes sense is if you look at it from a spiritual perspective and from a worldview that makes sense. I'm going to tell you something, Doug. I've received letters from the ACLU telling me what I can't say. Of course, I took a pen and I carved my answer back on top of their letter and mailed it to them and said, come on back, come see me, let's get lawyers and do the dance. I didn't get a reply. I've had sheriffs come to my house and take my guns away. without ever being charged, not just not convicted of a crime, never even being accused of a crime. Of course, I got my guns back, but I'm going to tell you what, we are living in some crazy times, man, and Christians better wake up. And if you don't think the answer to this isn't just changing this nation into a socialistic nation, it's taking down the nation that's promoted the gospel more than any other nation in the history of the world. This is a spiritual war to take down the church. If you don't think the freedoms afforded to you in America are significant, you might want to look around the world. It's a very significant thing. The devil knows what he's doing. He's coming after our government so he can take away our freedoms and silence the Christians.
And he's doing a good job, and that's why we have the Warriors and Wild Men podcast. We're trying to put brains and balls on believers because, like you said, man, this is a macro battle. It's not just about you and your little world and your little wants and your little desires. I mean, we're in for the fight of our lifetime.
Yep.
Especially if we want our kids and our grandkids to inherit this nation a little better than they received it, and to continue on, again, this incredible experiment in self-governance. It's going to mean that you and we got to be scrappy. We can't just be passive. We can't be indolent. We can't be just turning a blind eye to the garbage that's going on. It means that we've got to be political. We've got to be involved in culture, entertainment, arts, and education. And everybody's like, well, that's a big, heavy load to lift. Yeah, it's what men do. That's why, that's why we cobbled together this podcast, trying to get the church to, and men in particular, to WTF, you know?
Yeah, hey, Doug.
To wake up a little bit.
Let me ask you this question. Tell me what you think about this. So, how serious a problem is it that we're facing the biggest spiritual and physical struggle of our lives, and the men in the church, particularly, are weaker than ever?
I think it's a beautiful plan if you're El Diablo, and I can think back in the scripture, Rich, to a time in Israel's checkered past when they got overrun by the enemy. In Isaiah 3, Isaiah the prophet, not praising Israel at all, he said, "Women and capricious men are running your nation." And after he made that indictment, which sounds great, again, to effeminize men and radical feminists like Rosie O'Donnell. Sounds great that the women and the capricious lads are in charge, but what ensues following that displacement of male leadership, masculine leadership, is that Israel got overrun by the enemy. Yep. And so, I think it's, I get asked all the time, because I wrote the book Pussification, the Feminization of the American Male. I get asked all the time, why do you think it's happening? How long has it been going on? I gave them the exact same answer as you. They have to eradicate masculinity from the male collective in order for them to take over a nation. Yep. That's what big government goons do. That's why radical Islam, they love it when we have man buns and skinny jeans and deep V-neck T-shirts. And when we love Pepsi and that pizza that has cheese inside the crust, and we're fascinated with Kim Kardashian's butt implants, instead of focusing on real serious world issues, gospel issues, and fighting that battle. They love it when we're effeminized. And like Isaiah said, you're about to get ransacked for your arrogance and for your eradication of male leadership. And it's all going to come through the effeminization. And that's how God judged the nation. He didn't judge them with frogs or hemorrhoids or any kind of natural disasters. He just removed the male leadership from the equation, and they went down the hole, man.
Done deal.
That's good. Is that a wrap? Feels like a wrap.
I think it's a wrap. I'm pretty much fired up. I'm pissed off about it, and I feel like I've said what I wanted to say about that.
Rich, what do they need to do? What do the Warriors and Wild Men listeners need to do?
First thing you need to do is get some nuts. That's required. So nut up or shut up. That's a sub point of number one. Then they need to go to Warriors and Wild Men podcast. They need to subscribe. They need to review it. Leave us a comment. If you think we're awesome, tell us. We're probably not as awesome as you think. If you think we suck, tell us. We're probably not as sucky as you think, but we'd love to hear that. And follow us on Facebook, Warriors and Wild Men.
Yeah, also, we're compiling a big old email list, so leave us your email address. We got some special cool things coming up. Products, private engagements. Oh my God, man.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So peace out, folks. Thank you, Rich. Follow us, like Rich said, on Facebook and Twitter, Warriors and Wildmen.